Hello everybody, this is Jimmy with Texas Small Town Rides. We're fixing to head through the small town of Gainesville, Texas. We're coming in on the east side. It's 678. The first thing we see as we come into the city proper is this assisted living facility right here on my right side, or the north side. And we're coming in on 678. It's a pretty nice little small town. Doesn't seem to be a lot of traffic. It may have been bigger back in the 50s or the 60s, but it does seem to be like it's kind of stuck, as we're going to see when we get downtown. We'll be going by the courthouse, some of the major stuff. We're coming into the city where the residences are right here. This is also known as California as it goes through town. We got a little caution light here as we go around the corner. Incoming traffic. We won't get caught in any of that. This is one of the middle elementary schools, Thomas Edison Elementary. They got two elementary schools, and that's one of them there on my left, or the south side. This is a Baptist church over here on the right, Temple Baptist Church. And we're coming in on California Street from the east side. You can see there's a lot of trees and vegetation. I'm happy to see that this year there's not a lot of bagworms. Last year there was quite a bit of bagworms in all these trees. They may show up later in the year, but I hope not. You can see by the number of trash cans out, this is trash day for this street. And we're going to be coming up to a red light here. We're going to go straight through on this particular route, but later on we're going to come back to this street, because this is also known as Grand Street, which is the main north-south street through town. Grand Street. We're going to be coming back to this street a little bit later on. Yeah, so right now we're just going to be sitting through this red light, waiting for us to get through. Not very fun, but looks like that's what we have to do. People seem to be fairly friendly, waving at me. Looks like they got the caution light. We'll be going soon. No, oncoming traffic a little bit first. Because it grew like this, some of the streets are a little zigzaggy, if you will. As you see, if I went straight across, I would come into oncoming traffic, so I got to do a little slide to the right to keep in my lane. I've got the green light now. I'm going to be proceeding. I'm not sure if it's visible in the distance yet in the camera range, but you can see the courthouse, at least the top of it. Oh, third of a mile, quarter of a mile down the street. There's a little state bank right there, First State Bank on my right hand side. A little strip mall there on my left. Some of the businesses through Gainesville. This is one of the bridges. Anybody who lives in Gainesville also knows that the train schedule, because now that the trains have been active again, we're crossing the train tracks right now. The train can come through and take up to 15 minutes coming through town. This is the post office right here on my right. just on the other side of this red light right there on the right. This is downtown, and you can see these buildings may have been popular. They look like they're from the 50s in the old town square style. There's the old movie theater on my left side. Now, some of these buildings have been obviously repurposed, but this is downtown. And there's the courthouse there on my left. The DPS is over here on my left, just as I pass the red light. And then, about another quarter of a mile ahead of me is 35. 35 is a major interstate. We're going to be taking a left just before we get there. One street before. Good thing there's not a whole lot of traffic in Gainesville. It would be very congested. Right here off 35 we got some of our major fast food chains right here. And then over here, as I make this left-hand turn, on my right is the Medal of Honor little park for all of our fallen soldiers. People come from quite a bit of places around to see that. There's a Quality Inn right across the street here on my right. Right at the end of this street, we're going to be seeing the public library for Gainesville. It's pretty small, but the town's large enough to have one. It's the Cook County Library. Over here on my left is some of the emergency services, Cook County Maintenance. The Civic Center's on my right. Some apartments over here on my right. And we're going to take a quick left here. Behind the emergency services, these are where the ambulances are. Cook County Emergency Medical Services right there. We're just south of the courthouse. And we're on Commerce Street. We'll be taking a left. We're going to go back up in the town proper. Got this stop sign we'll be stopping at here. And cross traffic crosses. Here we are. We're coming up on the south side of the courthouse. On these old Texas towns, the main street was they built a courthouse and then all the main streets behind it. You can see the courthouse there on my left hand side, and these are some of the streets going around it. You can see by the style of the building, they're pretty old. We got a brick street here, and we're coming up to California Street again. We're going to go on through. We got the green light. I was just trying to show you some of the architecture downstairs. We got the lamps up there. And some of these old buildings, and it's obviously the road is in kind of disrepair here. We're going to be taking a right. And we're going to be taking a right again. We're going to head off to the historic district, or what they call the historic district here in Gainesville. Some of the old houses, they look nice. Now we're on the north side of California Street, waiting at a red light to go south. Over there on my left is the movie theater that we passed a few minutes ago. It's an old movie theater. Back in the day, it only had one screen. Now it's used as something else. I think a theater for plays. And we'll be taking a right here. Some of these government buildings along here. We'll be taking a left. We've got the old church here. Looks like they're tearing up the parking lot, maybe fixing it. That is one thing about Gainesville. The roads are in terrible, terrible shape. As you can see from the top of the street sign there, this is the historical district, and we'll be headed off into the historical district. You can see by the make of the houses, you can see a style that's out of date today. They don't make houses quite like this there on the left. Look at that one. You can tell it's an old established neighborhood. Look at the size of the trees. Yeah, just very nice. Some of these houses have been torn down and they built new ones, of course. People just relaxing on their porch in the shade. And we're going to take a left here. We want to stay in the historic district as much as we're able to. Look at some of the nicer houses along here. And again, we're in the historic district. See the size of the trees. We recently had a pretty bad storm here in Gainesville where a lot of the trees were knocked down by the strong winds. Take a quick left here. We just came down that street. We'll go ahead and cross. Turn this way. I hope you're getting a good idea or can see some of the nice how nice the houses are in this area, how stately they look from a previous time. That's a nice one in front of me. They just don't make houses quite like that. I suppose you could always get one made to order. So we're going to be crossing the railroad tracks again, going back to the other side, coming out of the historic district now. There's the second funeral home. We'll be going by the cemetery, the big one here, a little bit. Crossing back over to the other side of the railroad tracks. Again, people in Gainesville, they learn that railroad schedule because you can be delayed at these places. There's only one bridge that goes over the top, and that's up at 82 on the north side. So now we're back over on the other side of the railroad tracks, the other half of Gainesville, and we'll be coming up on Grand Street. I think it's that stop sign right up there, and then we'll head north. As I said earlier, Grand is a nope, that's Morris Street. Grand is a major thoroughfare that goes north-south. We're not all the way at the south side quite here, but we're going to be turning and headed north from here. Just like California is the major thoroughfare east to west, Grand is a major thoroughfare north-south. And we were at this red light earlier. We were coming up in what would be my right side here. That's where we waited at the red light. California. Right over there where that white car is. Usually it turns pretty green on this side, but we just happened to catch it at a bad time. And we're just waiting here for the traffic. Bike is getting pretty warm. Not real pleased with that. But it looks like it's about to change, and we're fixing to head out. And there's Broadway. And unfortunately we caught another light. This one's almost and now we're moving again. And along Grand Street you can see there's no houses, it's all businesses. Pawn shops, oil change, restaurants. There's a church, Dollar General. Now directly behind these, of course, is residences. Santorini's there, it's a good Greek place. Barbershop, snow cone place, Pizza Hut, another pawn shop, a little strip place, a little medical, another oil change place, furniture store, animal, a veterinarian, that's what I was trying to think of, a little motel there on my left, Circle K and gas, spa and nails. All these are little small businesses. The major chains are at the end of the street. That's where Walmart is. These are all smaller businesses, not real chains. As soon as you cross over 82, on the left is going to be a Walmart with a bunch of the major chains that you're used to seeing in place, like the Game Exchange and the GameStop. There's an O'Reilly's there and Sherman-Williams for paint. And if I continued on, you would find those places there. But I'm going to take a right. I can see the sign for Walmart over there on the left. But I'm going to take a right. We're going to head up here and turn down a street that's going to take us to the cemetery. Merging into some traffic. There we go. We're good. Right here at this green light, I'm going to take a right. Oh. We're headed back into some residences. 82 is a pretty big, it's a highway. It's the road we just came off. It runs on the north side of Gainesville, east to west. A lot of businesses along that route. As you get outside of town, of course, residences in the country. And we're headed down south on Fair Street. You can see the houses in this area, probably built in the 70s and 80s. And here we are at O'Neill Street. We're going to continue on, head down past the cemetery. Over here on our left is the cemetery. It's a really pretty cemetery. It's a fairly large cemetery. I'll make a quick ride through it. I'll go into the main gate. Again, the roads here are in Gainesville, they don't spend much money on the repair of the roads. Guess they feel like they need to spend their money elsewhere. Roads is not a priority here. We'll just make a quick turn into the cemetery. No dogs allowed. Speed limit's 15. And this is a very old cemetery too. You can find some pretty old graves. 1879 right there. 1894. So those historians like looking at old cemeteries, this is it. 1908. Got some nice shade in some areas. Like I said, this is a very pretty cemetery. Old cemetery. It's still active. They've still got room, and they're still putting people in the ground here. 1912, 1898. And we're going to take left here, exit out this other gate. That was just a quick ride through the cemetery. Seeing what was going on there. Take a look both ways as I come out this gate. And I'm not really sure where the guy that lives, where the business is that does the headstones. I know where both funeral homes are, but I don't really know where they do the headstones at. I've never seen that business here, although I'm sure it is here. I just don't know. Texas small towns. This is more of a mid-sized town, but when you compare it against some of the other towns, it's still got a very small town feel. They recently built a new high school. It's on the other side of 35. We didn't go by it. It has a zoo. Not very many small towns has a zoo, but we have the Frank Buck Zoo here. And we're crossing across O'Neill, which is another east-west thoroughfare through the residential areas. And we're pretty much on the east side of Gainesville now. We'll be headed home, and I will see y'all another time. Thank you for listening. I hope that you like and subscribe and you enjoy this video.